Okay. So, Community Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund has been running for 4 years now. I've not went into the background of the fund because it has been running for 4 years and it will be within the guidance. It is a Scottish Government grant, which comes with some stipulations that Vasslan have to follow, and we'll discuss them as we go through. So this is the first year that we're doing a multi-year fund. The total amount that will be distributed to South Lanarkshire's communities is £902,570.85 per year. So it's just over 1.8 million over the 2 years. The 1 year grants can apply, the total amount going out for 1 year grants is £180,514.17. And the total for multi-year allocation is £722,056.68, and that's per year. So it's 1.4, just over 1.4 million in total. 1 year grants. So for 1 year grants, you can apply for up to £10,000. So this is not multi-year funding. This will be a one-off payment of up to £10,000. You will have 18 months to spend the grant. It is aimed towards small grassroots organisations, pilot projects or new projects. Now, that's not saying they're the only 3 that we would accept, but that is what this is aimed towards. It's smaller organisations, pilot projects or new projects. Multi-year grants. So multi-year grants can apply from 10 to 20,000 per year. So if you're applying for 20 in year 1, it will be 20 in year 2 as well. So it's 40,000 in total. Partnership applications can apply for up to 35,000 per year. The reason we had to lower this year was to make the fund more accessible for single applications. Payments will be made quarterly for multi-year funding, so you will get a payment every quarter. And you will need to supply additional documents this year. So we will be looking for your governance document, your last financial year accounts, a project plan or project template, and a financial forecast. The reason we need to ask for this is because we need to ensure sustainability for the 2 years of the project. We've got to ensure that the organisation is sustainable as it can be for 2 years worth of money. For partnerships, we have created a partnership agreement this year to make it clearer what partner will be doing what. And I'll share this with you as well. The fund's aims and priorities are the same as they have been over the last 4 years. So the overarching aim of the fund is to support community-based initiatives that will promote and develop good mental health and well-being. Every application should have a degree of, I forgot the words, sorry, I forgot the words I was looking for there. Early intervention and prevention. So every application should have a degree of either early intervention or prevention or both. Important information. So no part of this fund can go towards any element of a project that supports children or young people under the age of 16. That is a Scottish Government stipulation and we can't negate from that. So this has got to go to adult projects, them over 16. We have had some reporting back this year where there have been elements of funding that went towards young people. That really can't happen. We could end up in a situation where we're having to ask for the money back. So please, if you're thinking about a project, it can only be for those 16 and over. This year, we will not have the capacity to go back and clarify points on applications, so please include all relevant information and do not rely on us coming back and asking questions. This is really important. We are expecting the fund to be hugely oversubscribed this year. We are a small team at Vasslan and we won't have the time to go back to every single application to clarify points. Where we feel it's needed, we will, but please ensure that you have put relevant information in your application. New versus existing projects. Existing projects can apply for the fund. Panel are looking for real life impact over new projects. We're not asking you to reinvent the wheel, or if something's working really well, we don't need you to create something new. You just need to show the real life impact within your application. And feedback. We aim to give all rejected applications feedback. However, sometimes the feedback simply will be that the fund was oversubscribed. And last year for the fund, we did have an unacceptable level of abuse from groups that were rejected. This was seen across all TSIs in Scotland. Scottish Government have therefore came back and let us know that we are now allowed to exclude groups from further application if it is deemed that your treatment of the VASLAN staff is unacceptable. And this is for if your application is rejected. We understand it's frustrating. We understand it's an extremely competitive climate at the moment when it comes to funding, but the VASLAN staff aren't here to accept abusive comments. National organisations, so this year, and again this is a Scottish Government announcement, national organisations undertaking initiatives in South Lanarkshire are not excluded from the fund, but they are not the main focus. They will only be funded by exception, and the exception is where the needs cannot be met by grassroots organisations, and that's on the applying organisation to prove. So this fund really is aimed at small grassroots organisations, not nationals, and therefore Scottish Government have added this into the guidance this year. South Lanarkshire grassroots organisations will be given preference over organisations that sit out with South Lanarkshire, again, unless there is evidence that your organisation is meeting a need of communities that cannot be met by South Lanarkshire third sector organisations. Okay, important dates. Our website will be updated with the guidance. In a mock version, it will be a Word version of the application form on the 11th of August. The fund does not open on the 11th of August. This is to give you time to prepare your project. The fund opening date is the 25th of August and the closing date is the 6th of October. From the 6th of October until December, I will be assessing all application forms and then submitting them to panel. So panel have got about 6 weeks to read them and assess them independently. The panels then meet on the 12th of January. So small panels will be I'll move on to the panel slide actually, just to let you know. Small panels will be the 12th and 13th of January. That is for applications of up to £10,000, and that will be assessed by an internal panel at VASLAN who have not been involved in any pre-assessment stage, and this is so that they remain impartial throughout the process. External will take place on the 14th, 15th and 16th. Applications will be heard by locality, so we will do Hamilton, East Kilbride, Camglen, so on and so forth. That panel is an external panel made up of NHS Lanarkshire representation, Health and Social Care Partnership, third sector reps and people with lived experience. Again, completely impartial, and the panels will run the same as they did last year, which was far more efficient than we've done it before. So it won't be a rolling fund. All applications will be heard at the one time and will be given the same opportunity. Our website, so I'm going to talk you through our website soon, but on our website you will have information to the background of the fund, the guidance, a Word version of your application that cannot be submitted. This was asked for by the sector so that they can practice their application and then copy and paste it onto the online application. And there will be the link to the main application. So please do not submit a Word document. We cannot accept it. It's got to be the online application. If you need support with that, if you struggle with online applications or you need any capacity support at all, please get in touch with one of your locality officers. So for East Kilbride, we've got Kimberly and Douglas. For Hamilton, we've got Ashlyn and Charlotte. For Clydesdale, we've got Anne and Ashley. And for Camglen, we've got Peter and Laura. You've also got myself if you've got any further questions about the fund. And the email addresses at VASLAN are our first name, second name @vaslan.org. And this is my contact information. Again, it's already available on our website. And if anyone hasn't had previous communication with me, you can get my details from there, or it will be available once this recording is made public. So before we move on to the Q&A, I just want to talk you through some of the documents that you will be seeing once the website is live. Can we all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Perfect.
Yeah.
So this is a paper copy of the one-year applications that will be on our website. It is an exact word for word of the online application, but you cannot submit this. So you've got some further information here and some information about our panels and how it's up to our panels who's funded and who's not. We have no authority to override any decisions made. Again, asking you not to submit this. So I have completed this as an example so that you know what you're expected to put in. And this section here in white, you can delete and add your own information. So section 1, we're looking for your organisation details, and this is the same to our applications before. The only difference is we're now asking if your organisation is a national charity or associated with a national charity. If it is, we're asking you to describe the need or the gap that you are filling and evidence that no grassroots organisation within South Lanarkshire is currently completing that work. We will be looking for your income for the last financial year, and we will also be asking whether you're applying to any other TSIs. You have to make it, you have to let us know if you are. So if you are applying to another third sector interface, you would click yes, and then you would tell us who it is here. Contact details, this is contact details for the person that's applying for the funds. Any partnership information, so if you click yes on is it a partnership, you'll be asked to give the full information of the partners. This may be more than one, so it's organisation name and contact details for all partners involved. Type of service is a drop-down list, and that's whether it's a befriending organisation, a mental health service, a animal charity. You don't have to be a mental health charity to apply for this fund. Your project just has to have focus of mental health and wellbeing. A summary of your application where you have 100 words max, and then the full details of your application go here. Again, just a reminder to always link your project to the fund priorities and show how your project supports mental health and wellbeing. Your reason for application will be a drop-down, and that is it a new project, is it an existing project, or is it the development of a service? An estimated start date. It doesn't have to be exact, it's just when do you think you'll be able to start? Is it match funded? And if it is match funded, how much and where is that coming from? Were you previously funded, or was this specific project previously funded by the Community Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund? Any additional information? And then we get to the cost breakdown. Within the cost breakdown, it will automatically add your cost up for you as you put your costings in. And then you have a box where you can free type, and that's where we're looking for a full breakdown. Now, what I will say is if you are applying for salary costs, please break this down and make it clear that you've included national insurance, pensions where appropriate. We're asking how many staff or volunteers are going to be involved in this project. And if it is staff, are they new or are they already in place? And the reason we're asking this year is because it's the main question that is always asked by panel when people put staff costs in, especially for shorter projects. They want to know whether there's already a staff member in place or is there going to be a recruitment. So it's just an extra question that we're not needing to come back and ask. The project priorities, so you'll be asked to tick what your project fits. So it's tackling priority issues, suicide prevention, social isolation, loneliness prevention, early intervention, or addressing the mental health inequalities exacerbated by the pandemic and the needs of the range of at-risk, which I'll go through with you. Supporting small grassroots community groups, providing opportunities for people to connect and build trusted relationships, and responding to the cost of living crisis. Scottish Government have also added in tackling child poverty, but that must be through adult interventions. Beneficiaries, so we're asking how many people will benefit. So direct beneficiary is the direct person that will be using your group. So how many people have used your product or service. Indirect beneficiaries, there are reports that state for every one person you help, you're actually supporting 3 behind that. So what we're asking this year is for you to estimate the number of indirect beneficiaries. So that can be family, friends, communities that are indirectly benefiting from your project. And then who will benefit? So this is the at-risk group. And we have everything the same as the previous 4 years. Scottish Government have added on this year young people aged 16 to 24. You'll be asked what locality your project fits is working in, so whether it's Hamilton, East Kilbride, Camglen or Clydesdale. South Lanarkshire-wide projects as well. Short and medium term outcomes, these will all be in our guidance, which will be released on the 11th of August. And this is just a tick box. Who it is that you're supporting, what are what medium-term and short-term outcomes are you helping? What evidence are you going to collect to demonstrate the benefits? So how are you going to report back? Is it going to be surveys, case studies? How are you going to collate that information? An exit strategy. So for larger applications, I would say anything really over 7,000, panel will probably want an exit strategy. For multi-year funding, panel will definitely want an exit strategy. An exit strategy is, what do you intend to do when the money runs out? Now, if this has stopped, the project's going to finish, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't put you at a disadvantage. Panel will just want to know, how are you going to fund the project if you plan to continue it? And then by submitting this application, you're agreeing to send over your governing documents and your last 12 months of accounts. If you don't have 12 months of accounts, then your last 2 bank statements, and this is for 1-year applications. The multi-year application is identical. It does ask you to go into it slightly more due to it being a larger application. When you're applying for multi-year money, remember your costings are for the whole project. So I'm just scrolling through this because these parts are exactly the same. You can apply for 100% of your project, so it doesn't have to be match funded. Again, looking for volunteer and staffing information, priorities, beneficiaries, your at-risk list, medium-term and short-term outcomes, and sustainability. So your exit strategy, and then your documents. So bearing in mind for multi-year money, it is governing document, last financial year account, a project planner template, and a financial forecast. So these will be available on our website from the 11th, which will allow you to start planning and preparing your application. Just a reminder, you can delete everything in white and put in your own information for you to copy and paste over. Please do not submit a paper, a Word document application. So our website can be viewed now. The link to it is www.vastland.org.uk/CMHWF. On our website, you will have some information about the funds here. This recording will go here. However, at the moment, it is a video from the celebration event we held in March. Along the top is where you will start applying when applications open. So 1-year grants will apply here. We have some more information about the funds, and then the link to apply will be at the bottom. Multi-year grants will be the same. So through here, information about the funds, and then the link will be at the bottom. Our contact details, the guidance documents will be available here. We'll have our news page if there's any upcoming news, and our homepage. So when applying, the main thing to be aware of is, are you applying for 1 year? So that is a one-time payment, or are you applying for multi-year grants, which will be quarterly payments? This year payment dates will be the 1st of February. So before, what we've done was when panel met and agreed, award notices went out. And as soon as you got your invoice into us, we made the payment. This year, they will not be made until the 1st of February. So you will have around 2 weeks to get your invoice into us, and we'll start payments on the 1st of February. Vastland have to have the money out of our bank account by the 31st of March. So please ensure, if you are awarded, that you get your invoice into us as soon as possible. So come the 1st of February, we can get payments out. And then finally, I just want to share with you the partnership agreement. So the partnership agreement is quite straightforward. We're looking for the partnership names, contact details, and any additional partners that can be added on. The amount that you were awarded, the purpose of the partnership. So is it to collaborate on a shared project? Is it to share resources? Is it to jointly deliver services to a targeted population? What are the roles and responsibilities going to be for organising organisation A, B, C. So who's going to provide staff support? It can be down to the smaller things, who's going to supply the food, the tea and coffee, if that's something that your project's doing. But in here, we really want to see what are the roles and responsibilities of the partnership. Financial contributions. So if there's any financial contributions, who's making them? And if there's none, that's fine. There doesn't have to be. The fund distribution, and this is probably the most important part, is who's getting the money. So it will always be the lead organisation on a partnership that will receive the money into their bank account. After that, what happens? Is it staying with the lead organisation, or is the money going to be distributed evenly or distributed throughout the organisations? If so, we really need to know who's doing what and how much is going to that partner. How he's going to make decisions, how often he's going to meet. He's agreed to confidentiality of the partnership, that's sensitive information. Monitoring and evaluation, who's going to be doing that? And then if you do have a dispute, how he's going to solve it. Finally, an agreement of accountability, and then the signatures of all partners. We would request this document after you have been awarded. So once you've had your award notice, I would then send this out to the lead partner. And we would then ask for you to send that back to us so that we've got a copy of it. And this just negates any problems that may arise within partnership applications. So that was a lot of information. I completely understand that in the one go. I am happy to start taking questions. Have we got any in the chat to start, Peter?
No, nothing yet. So somebody's got to be the first victim.
Okay, so we'll go with Stephanie.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for that, Jan. That was really helpful. I was just wondering, and it's not specifically that we were thinking of this, but if somebody was, you might have said this, it took me a while to go on because I went to the original link, but if somebody was applying for, say, for example, one of the one-year funds, can they then also apply for a multi-year, like, or one of the multi-year partnerships, or is it just one that you can apply?
No, you can apply for more than one. However, it will be taken into account at panel. The way that we work panel is the small panel always and have always met first, and that gives preference over small grassroots organisations. And then the multi-year panel meet or the larger panel meet, and that's the way we've always ran it. Scottish Government up until now have always preferred awards to be under £10,000. They've always wanted the majority of awards to be under 10,000, and that was the reasoning behind doing that. So this year we followed the same format. Small panel will meet on the Monday and the Tuesday, and then large panel will meet. So you can apply for both. However, with the fund being so oversubscribed, I can't guarantee it's something panel would take into account.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. And so, for example, the multi-year as well, so you could technically then apply for, say, one partnership and one solo, but actually because they've been so oversubscribed, chances are like that's not going to happen, but it's just that you could technically put them in. Would that be? You
could, and we have seen it before, and where we see it more often is where one of the applications is really meeting a need that isn't being met. So there are target groups that are underrepresented within communities, and when we see applications come in that are really meeting a need that we know people are struggling with, or we know as a community that doesn't have a lot of support, then panel will take all of that into account. What I would do is, if you're applying for 1 year and a multi-year, I would put on what one you would prefer, or I would email me and tell me what one you would prefer to be funded, because there is the chance that it could come down to that. What project is more detrimental to your organisation or your community that you're serving?
No, that's really helpful. Thank you so much.
No problem. Leslie?
Thanks, Joanne. That was great. That was quite clear and gave us a good idea about the fund. See, when you talk about adults, what's the upper age range?
There isn't one.
I'm talking about adults and older people, or?
Yeah, adults and older people. So anyone over the age of 16. There is a children's fund, but that's run through South Lanarkshire Council, and it's not run as a fund, unfortunately. So this fund really can only go to anyone over the age of 16, but there isn't an upper range.
Right. So I work in a dementia hub, so I'm at the other end of the age scale, so that's grand. Thanks, Joanne.
And it is one of the, not to make anyone feel old, but on the at-risk over 50 is one of the at-risk on the list. So yeah, it caters to everyone over the age of 16.
Thanks ever so much. Thank you.
No problem. Dale?
Hello. In previous years, and I may have this wrong, so excuse me, you have taken the kind of annual budget that you've got to account out, and then you've kind of split it equally amongst the localities, and then a separate amount for South-wide applications, and that South-wide has tended to be smaller, was my understanding. Is that the same approach that you're taking this year?
My honest answer to this is I don't know.
Okay.
It potentially will be. So when we looked at it over previous years, we took into account community size, population, and when we done the split, it was quite even. But there is always one or two localities, because there's always one or two localities that don't apply for the full amount.
Yeah.
So that then can go on to other localities. South Lanarkshire wide has predominantly been smaller, so I think last year it was about £60,000. Again, potentially that would be the same, but we only really had 4 or 5 applications that fit within that. So if it's a South Lanarkshire organisation that we know, and we know they're working in a certain area and they've clicked South Lanarkshire wide, we will question it, because sometimes people will tick it by accident.
Yeah.
The answer is I'm not 100% sure. We've not got to that. I've arranged everything else, we've just not got to that point of the fund.
Nope, that's brilliant, that's fine. And then my last thing that you had said, when you were talking about the partnership agreements, at one point it was sounded like we upload that with our documents when we're attaching it, but then you said at the end that would come out afterwards. So
Yeah.
just getting clarity on that one.
That will come out afterwards. So that's once
fine.
you've been awarded, the partnership agreement will come out, so you don't have to upload that with your
At the time
application.
of application. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem. Trying to see if we've got any more. Anything in the chat, Peter?
No, just a point that Leslie's making, just saying really clear information, and great that we're doing a draft Word application for this round and uploading that to the website so that you can have a practice and make all your mistakes before you actually submit the real one.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, it was feedback we were given, and we thought that's fair enough. All we're asking is just don't submit the paper one. It has to be, the application form's linked to our system, so everything comes through and it's all very easy at our end. So if you cannot submit the paper one, that would be great, but it is good that it's there. Key information is 11th of August, the website will go live, I would say, and it will have the guidance and the paper-based application. The fund will then open on the 25th of August. The fund will shut on the 6th of October. And panels will meet week beginning the 12th of January. Payments will be made on the 1st of February. So I would say that's your main dates. Again, it will all be on our website. And the main points for me is link your application to prevention or early intervention. Make it clear who you're supporting. If it is an existing project, please make it clear the real life impact. So some of you would have seen the case study impact report that was written for the previous years. That's the kind of what we're looking for. We're really looking to hear the real life impact that you're making on the ground, and your costings. Try and make them as clear as possible. Panel's biggest questions are usually costings, especially if they don't add up. And it can be something as simple as it not adding up that puts another application ahead of yours. So before you submit your application, just be really clear that your costings add up, and that you've broken down salary costs. I'm trying to think what else. Peter, can you think of anything that's usually questioned around finance, around the costings?
No, sometimes in terms of overheads can be sort of looked at, and particularly around sort of management fees for it. So just maybe be cautious of that. And if you've got any questions, then just ask us about that. I think staffing and sort of all the overheads that goes along with employing a member of staff is something that's put in, and I know for this round that ties in with the Fair Work principles, so making sure that they are any staff and any wages do meet the national minimum wage. Yeah, sorry, just on that, Scottish Government, it is within the guidance, you'll see it, but there is Fair Work First, and the two main requirements are the real living wage, so you're paying staff the real living wage,
and that staff have access or opportunity to access trade unions to have a voice. So it's within the guidance. You will be able to see it once the guidance is released on the 11th of August. But they are the two stipulations that you must follow when it comes to supporting staff or hiring staff. Stephanie?
Hi, sorry, just wanted to check, Jan. So you were saying obviously they'll be paid on the 1st of February, but project could still start, I'm assuming, from the beginning of the new tax year and run that. I thought that, but it was just to double check.
Your project can start as soon as you're ready. So if you're applying for a project, say that it's going to start in this December, you can put it on that the project's already started. You can put that in your application, and that this will be cost going towards it. So
Right,
the
okay,
project can start at any time. It doesn't have to be after the new financial year either. If it's 1 year of money, it has to be spent within 18 months of you getting the money.
Right, no, that's fab. Thank you. That's really helpful. Thanks.
Katrina?
Thanks for that, Joanne. It's been really, really helpful. I'm a development worker for in the Douglas area. Now, I'm working with a lot of grassroots organisations, but they're not very IT friendly, as a way to put it. How does it work with me sort of representing them across that? Because I'm finding that their IT skills and creating, like creating accounts and going on and having key points of contact is proving to be a bit tricky, and they're finding it quite off-putting for some of these organisations or these groups, basically, who then are getting put off with the funding. So how does it work then, so we can try and sort of encourage them more in? Can I be a representative for them, sort of say?
Yeah. You can be a representative for them. We can also get our capacity support officers to come out and support them with the application if they're struggling to do the online application. And it is something that Vastland separately are looking at, is digital literacy within the third sector, and how can we support groups that aren't as confident with computers. How can we support them, seeing as just everything is now moving to an online basis. So it's something we're looking at, but yes, you can act as a representative for them, and the Vastland staff can also come out and support them.
No, that's good. That's good, because I know in some funding applications it's kind of a bit messy because I can't necessarily submit it on their behalf, but it's good if we've got like support that Vastland can come out and do that as well, because I know that the digital literacy is a bit of an issue for a lot of the smaller grassroots organisations and groups. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
No problem. Teresa?
Hi, Joanne. Thanks for that. Yeah, my question's about if you're employing someone or salary costs. Is there a preference for funding when it's an actual paid member of staff as opposed to an external contractor?
Yes.
There is.
If the external contractor is a private organisation and not a third sector organisation, panel can question costs on this, because the costs are usually quite high. If it's another third sector provider, panel actually like that the money's been kept within the third sector economy. So if it's another third sector organisation you're paying to do something, that actually is quite favourable. If it's a private contractor, it can come. I'm not saying it's not, it's frowned upon or anything like that, but panel can question the costs if the costs are quite high.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Dale?
Building on that then, if it is using another third sector kind of body and things, would that then need to go through as a partnership, or could that just be that we did it as a non-partnership application, but then we contracted externally to that other third sector?
It doesn't have to be a partnership. So I'm trying to think of a situation. So say you were running a project and you had to get an artist in to do work with you, and there's a third sector art group and you're going to give them the money to do it. That, for us, that wouldn't be classed a partnership. That's using third sector resources almost. So it can be done out with the partnership. There are certain things that we'll only be able to do externally, and they won't, like I say, they won't be looked at negatively, but if the costings are quite high, panel will ask it's a phrase I absolutely hate, but value for money.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, we've had a question that's came in through the chat. It says, I'm involved with a group application for 1 year. Can I now make an application for a different group, i.e. a church group? So I think that's it. Can I be the point of contact for multiple applications?
You can be. Again, always put on the forum when it's asking about the organisation, make sure it's the organisation that's on the forum and not yourself. But if you're the person that the organisation want us to contact about it, then you can put your contact details on it. That's no problem. But just make sure it's the organisation, because you could end up be seen to have 5 applications into the fund, and there is no way a panel would want that to happen. And they also wouldn't allow them to be funded. At that point, they would say this is excessive. So just be clear who the organisation is that you're applying for, but you can support them. We've had Healthy Valleys do it previously for several organisations, and it's just always the organisation that needs to be clear who the organisation is. So that's absolutely no problem. Paul? Oh, Paul, are you wanting to come in? Yeah, you're on mute. Maybe a second.
Aye, sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Do you know what the panel's view is, or do they have a view yet on using AI to support your application?
Yeah, so I'm actually quite glad you asked this. There is no negative view on using AI. What I would say is it can become quite obvious when an application is written by AI. AI can be fantastic for some things, but please, if you're going to use AI, read it before you submit it, because sometimes it can not make sense and it's not personal to you. That, I would say, is probably the biggest downfall of AI. Applications are really hard to make personal to your organisation and to your project, and it's hard to get passion through a written application. And I think using AI, that almost will dilute that even further. So it's just being mindful that as much as possible, panel want to feel your passion for the project. So just ensure once you've used AI, if you are using it, to then kind of read it through, make sure it makes sense, but also make sure it's quite personal to your organisation, your project, and the community that you're supporting. The other thing I would say about AI, it's not environmentally friendly, so it's bearing that in mind as well.
What do you mean by that?
Using AI is, Peter, I don't know if you remember the stats on this, but using AI is, I can't remember what Sarah told us. Using AI is like, I think it's like leaving the power on in your house for 3 days every time you use it.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's something like that. It is extremely unenvironmentally friendly.
Energy intensive.
I can't remember the stats, but I think because of what it's actually doing in the background, it is quite sort of energy and intensive, and a lot of sort of time and effort is put into it, which may mitigate sort of some of the environmental aspects of what you're trying to do.
Okay, it's an interesting point. Thanks, Joanne.
No problem. Any other questions? I am always free. I mean, I'll get back to you straight away, but we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. So if you have any questions about the fund at all, please don't hesitate to email me or give me a phone or phone the office, because if it's not me, Peter, Kimberly, and one of the guys will pick it up, and they're all very aware of the fund. Sandra? Oh, you're on mute. 3 seconds, Sandra. I'll see if I can unmute you. No, you're on mute. Sandra, can you press the microphone button?
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect.
Right. I'm the one that put the question about being involved in one group with a project in Aiken. I belong to a church, and we want to look at isolation in the community and how we can help with that. Are church groups acceptable for this?
Yes, so church groups can apply. We cannot fund any faith-based projects, but community-based projects we can, and we have, I would say, extensively funded church organisations over the last 4 years. They're very favourable when it comes to certain projects within their communities, because of how well they know. I'm just thinking, Paul, for example, the church that you're involved in, you know your demographic very well, and they've been funded previously. So church groups are more than welcome to apply. Any faith-based group is welcome to apply, but it cannot be for a faith-based project.
That's great. Thanks very much.
What I will also say on the church or the faith-based organisations is it has to be open to everyone. So it can't be a mental health project but only open to people that attend the church. It's got to be inclusive of whole communities.
Oh yeah, the whole idea is to reach out to people in the community who are isolated.
Yeah.
To provide interaction with them, not to spread the church.
No, that's absolutely fine. And you're eligible to apply.
Okay, thanks very much.
Yeah, we've just had a comment in the chat. Somebody was unfortunately a wee bit late coming to the event, and they just asked if we could do a wee recap on the draft Word application.
Yeah, no problem. So again, this will be so I'm just scrolling to the top. The Word application is identical for multi-year. You're just asked to submit slightly more information with the multi-year one. The application is looking for your organisation details. Everything in white you can delete and put words, your own words in, and then copy that onto the online document. I have tried to make it clear where it's a tick box or a drop-down box, because then you would be completing that on the application itself. So your organisation and main activities that your organisation does. And the reason we ask for this is panel aren't aware of all organisations within South Lanarkshire, so it just lets panel know what your organisation mainly does away from the project. Are you a national charity? And if so, what gap or need are you filling that isn't already being filled, or that no grassroots organisation within South Lanarkshire could fill? And that's up to the national charity to look into that and find out. Income from last financial year. Are you applying to any other TSIs, any other third sector interfaces? And if so, you've got to tell us who. The contact details. So this is where if you're applying for an organisation, if you're supporting an organisation, it would be all the organisation's details, and then here would be your details if you're the person that we're going to be talking to. Application details. Is it a partnership? If so, partnership details. Type of service will be a drop-down list, and that's are you a befriending organisation, a mental health charity. Again, if you are you don't have to be a mental health charity to apply for this fund. Any charity can apply for it. Any third sector organisation can apply for it. It just has to fit the criteria of the fund. A summary of your project. So this is a 100-word max, and it's just a summary of what you're applying for, and then the full details of your project. The reason for your application, and this will be, is it a new service, an existing service, or developing a previous service? Project start date. So that's just an estimate of when do you estimate to start. Is it match funded? And if it is match funded, how much and where has that came from? Where was this specific? So this isn't the organisation, this is a specific project. Was that funded through Community Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund previously? And any further information. Cost details. So on the online form, each cost detail is broken down. So you've got training costs, utility costs, salary costs. It will automatically add up what you put in those boxes. And then underneath that, you will give us a full cost breakdown. And that is where we ask you to break down salary costs as much as you possibly can, taking into account national insurance and pension. If you have a management fee or overhead costs, we put it around 7-8% apply for. The higher the management fee, panel will question it, but we do like to see that you're accounting for overheads when applying for these projects. So please make sure you're putting in the costs that you really need, any uplift costs as well. How many staff are involved? So how many staff or volunteers will take part in this project? And are any staff that you're applying for new, or are they in place? The reason we ask for this is because panel will always ask that question. Then it will be a tick box into the project priorities. How many beneficiaries, direct beneficiaries, are you supporting? So that's the person, each individual person that this project or organisation is supporting. And then indirect beneficiaries, study has found that for every one person you're supporting, you're helping 3 people behind that. So it's an estimate number of indirect beneficiaries, how many people, family, friends, communities are indirectly benefiting from your project. Then it is the at-risk group, which is a tick box. So who are you supporting? And this is the at-risk list. Young people aged 16 to 24 have recently been added to that list by Scottish Government. What locality are you going to, is your project going to be supporting? So it can be South Lanarkshire wide, or it can be Hamilton, Camglen, East Kilbride, Clydesdale. A tick box will be for here, and that's short-term and medium-term outcomes. How are you going to evidence your project? So will it be surveys, case studies? How are you going to report back to myself? And then an exit strategy for, I would say, above £7,000 panel will definitely want an exit strategy. And that's just asking, how are you going to continue after you've spent the money? Now, if you're not planning to continue the project, that's fine. You can put in, we're not planning to continue. But if you are planning to continue, how are you going to fund it? And then agreeing to upload documents. Now, you can upload them with your application. There is a button to do so, and that's your governing document and your last 12 months of accounts for 1-year applications. And for multi-year, it's your governing document, your last financial year accounts, your project plan, and a financial forecast. And that's the application. Again, that will be available on our website from the 11th of August, which will give you just over 2 weeks to prepare your application. Okay, so this will be shared on our website over the next few weeks. If you want a recap, website goes live on the 11th, so you'll be able to get full information on our website then. My contact details and Peter's contact details are on our website. Paul?
Yeah, sorry, just when you were saying that there about submitting 1-year accounts, is it the accounts of the church itself, that local parish, or is it the overall accounts for like the whole organisation, in our case, the diocese?
No, so for your organisation, it would be the organisation account, so it doesn't have to be the whole diocese accounts.
Right,
Because
okay.
I don't think that would reflect the financial struggles that your organisation might have.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. If anyone came in late and would like to speak to me separately, that's absolutely fine. Just pop me a wee email. Outside of that, I wish you all luck, and I'm looking forward to seeing your applications. Any problems, any questions, please get in touch. We will help as much as we possibly can.